Part 2. Let's continue, please. Quote, not surprisingly, the Minoans and Mycenaeans looked alike, both carrying genes for brown hair and brown eyes, creepy slanted brown eyes. Artists in both cultures painted dark-haired, dark-eyed people on frescoes and pottery who resembled each other, although the two cultures spoke and wrote different languages. The Mycenaeans were more militaristic with art deplete with spears and images of war, whereas Mayan art showed few signs of warfare. Lizardius said, stop, bingo! Why bingo, you wonder? Well, if we look at the information through the conventional eyes they want us to look at it, we can look at this in two ways. The first, the Dorians, who were militaristic with Spartan chassis in tow, took over the militaristic Mycenaeans. And the only way the world knew there was a changing of the guard was because the pottery style changed. We can say that. I mean, I just did, right? Or we can look at the same information like Little Miss Ivy and deduce. The Mycenaeans were the chassis for the Mayan Armada, just like the Spartans were the chassis for the Dorian upgrade Armada. Same concept. But if you are still not convinced, let's continue for more clues, shall we? Quote, because the Mayans script used hieroglyphics, some archaeologists thought they were partly Egyptian, which turns out to be false. Listen to this recipe. Quote, when researchers compared the DNA of modern Greeks to that of ancient Mycenaeans, they found a lot of genetic overlap. Modern Greeks share similar proportions of DNA from the same ancestral sources as Mayans, although they have inherited a little less DNA from ancient Anatolian farmers and a bit more DNA from later migrations to Greece. Stop. Bingo! Clones! I mean, what do you perceive when it says, quote, modern Greeks share similar proportions of DNA from the same ancestral sources as Mycenaeans? I perceive phrases like similar proportions and ancestral sources as the Mayans can only mean the Rodans have an extensive DNA database laboratory. Plain and simple. I perceive the only way in Hades, after thousands of years of foreign occupation, immigration, dispensation, etc., a modern Greek could share any DNA, nevertheless, similar proportions of DNA with anyone of antiquity is through preserved cloning methods. But I know, I'm colored, and you think I'm exaggerating the significance. You think, because I'm colored, I just got to be missing some steps to explain what the white man can't understand. Because of the colored skin I'm in, you think my God wouldn't give us the code. I got that. That's why I am so happy the white man said this. Quote, the continue, I can't say this word, Continuity. It's continuing the to continue. The continuality. Is that it? Continuality. The continuity. That's it. I got it. Sesame Street. I got it. The continuity. That's it. The continuity. You know what I'm trying to say, and I am so trying to get this word because I want to get this word, but I can't get it, and I'm wasting time and I'm making myself look like a fool. All right. The word is Continuity. I can't say it. That word between the Mycenaeans and living people is, personal quote, particularly striking, given that the Aegean has been a crossroads of civilizations for thousands of years, says co-author George Snuffleupagus of the University of Washington in Seattle. Now listen to this recipe. Quote, this suggests that the major components of the Greeks' ancestry were already in place in the Bronze Age after the migration of the earliest farmers from Anatolia set the template for the genetic makeup of Greeks. And, in fact, most Europeans. Let me say that last part again. After the migrations of the earliest farmers from Anatolia set the template for the genetic makeup of Greeks. And, in fact, most Europeans. Example, hitting switches, bingo! Hitting switches, bingo! Think about it like little Miss Ivy for just a minute, people. With all of the migration/amalgamation needed for their model to make sense to begin with, by default, we wouldn't have the distinctive intact racial lines we do today. Think about it like a millennial for just a minute, if you could pay attention that long. The current multiculturalism program is only 30 years old, and look at the amount of line blurring swirling that has happened in that small amount of time. And seeing men will have sex/make children with just about anything, the modern races we see today had to be cloned as is and distributed fairly recently. Think about it like a mad scientist for just a second. The reason they only have 14% of this and 5% of that is because that is the amount needed to clone that particular race. Any other percentage amount would result in a different race of people altogether. Sort of like how H2O gives you cool, refreshing water. But if you add one more O molecule, you get poisonous hydrogen peroxide. Does that make sense? Sorry for the mess up. I can't say that word. Man, I had it. I had it when I was studying, you know. But I can't say that word. But hopefully that made sense. We just beginning, people. I'm gonna back it up. Don't buck. I'm gonna back it up. Maybe not in the next video, but one after that. But I'm gonna back it up. Thank you for looking at this video. By God's will, look for the next.